everyone. This video is going to be a bit different from what I do usually. I felt the need and the desire to do this video and to express certain things about myself, about my story, about my life, and about what happened to me last weekend, because I've been through a very deep, powerful activation and liberation this weekend, so I'll tell you a little bit about that. So what happened is that one of my friends sent me a video of a young woman who channeled a global activation of the planetary grids. So while I was watching that, I didn't feel anything specific, and it was only a couple of hours later that it actually triggered. So it just happened like in 1 minute. It triggered a very deep pain. Like the kind of pain that I haven't experienced in the last maybe 10 years. And I thought that actually the last time I experienced such deep pain, I tried to kill myself 2 times. So you get the picture. So while I was feeling this pain, it was so hard that I started, first I was really like, I couldn't move anymore. I was in my couch, I was like this, and for a couple of hours I couldn't move anymore because the pain was so strong. And I had this vision of myself, my child self, that was a part of me that was blocked in a timeline somewhere where she was in a very deep black hole, and she was like this, like almost waiting for, you know, the next hit. And an immense, you know, state of pain and fear, and I could feel it, and it was horrible. So that's, at that point I started negotiating with my guides, and I said, look, I'm done, just get me out of this planet, get me out of this body. I want to go back to the light. I don't want to be here anymore. I can't take this anymore. I don't want to go through these emotions anymore. I've done it. No, I don't want that anymore. I don't want. Of course, they were saying, you know, just live the process, go through the process. So eventually that's what I did, but I really did want to kill myself. And it lasted for so long, you know, it was really like almost an eternity in that black hole and feeling that pain. And till the next day, so the next day I was still feeling a bit of it. It was not completely over, but as the day went on, I started feeling and understanding and integrating what actually what was happening with me. So I got a lot of insights about myself, but also what is happening on a collective level. I've got really great insights about this whole the programming that we go through as human beings, and how we have to unprogram ourselves, like it's almost like de-matrixifying, like just a new word I invented. And I'll be talking about these insights, but I still need to integrate the whole thing, so I will not get into details now. But what I did understand for myself is that in the past weeks I was experiencing a kind of a Kundalini Awakening, so I felt the Kundalini very strong. I felt it very strong in my first chakra and my sacral chakra, and it was moving. And I felt this tremendous energy within me that wanted to come out, and I was restricting that energy. I was keeping it inside. I was holding myself back. And that's basically what I've been doing all my life. I feel this powerful energy within me, this this strength that is really humongous, and I've been holding it back all my life. And I came to a point in the past weeks that it was so strong that I started feeling this rage inside me, like, you know, a tiger in a cage, and he wants just to get out and just break free. That was what I was feeling. And now I understand that the process I went through this weekend was actually there to help me to open up everything and to start really, you know, basically exploding all the ego structures, because this is what happens, you know, when you go through trauma. The ego actually builds itself around the trauma, and it builds an identity, and it builds beliefs, and So it acts like a protection, and thank you, ego, for doing that. But the thing is that it's not who you are. It's not who you want to be. It's not your true self, your true potential, and it was time for me just to break free from that. So basically, when I was a child, I was a very hypersensitive child, like really, really sensitive, and I could feel everything. I could feel everything in my environment. I was a huge empath, and so it was a handicap for me because on a social level, it was very difficult for me because I could feel everything so strongly. And also, I immediately felt that I was not human, that I could not relate to humans, that I was different from humans, and so I just asked myself, what the hell am I doing here on this planet? Like, someone took me here and just, you know, dropped me here, but I'm not from here. And one of my core wounds, so one of the core wounds I came to work on in this incarnation is rejection. And so in the past 3 years, so I've been working on myself for like 10 years, 11 years, but in the past three years I really did a big work on my traumas, and I did this daily, so it was really a huge amount of work on myself. And it also took me to a point where I was a bit isolated because I really needed this space and this loneliness to actually you know, go through all this stuff. And when I was doing that, so what you do is you actually go back to the memory of the trauma, when the trauma happened. And for the rejection part, it actually happened right after I incarnated into the fetus in my mother's womb, because my parents wanted to have a boy, and too bad, I was a girl. And they were really disappointed about that. So I actually felt what the fetus felt when the fetus felt what the parents were feeling. And suddenly, it's like I wanted to shrink, like myself, to be really, really tiny and just to disappear and not be there at all. Because, you know, as souls, we come from these spiritual realms where it's all unconditional love and light, and there's this, a sense of comfort and warmth, and then you arrive in this body and you're not welcomed. That's a huge trauma. So that was the first one, and then one of my other wounds is abandonment, and that happened a bit later when I was a 6-month-old baby. My mother got really sick and she had a kidney infection, so she had to go to the hospital, and my dad was on a trip for his work. So I was for 1 month at my aunt's and uncle's house, and apparently I cried for like 1 month non-stop there. And maybe I'll talk about this more in detail some other time, because I also did a shamanic ceremony with ayahuasca where I had a really powerful experience linked to that trauma. So as a little girl, I wasn't aware of it, of course, but I came really with this energy, this specific energy that we all starseeds share. This energy that is meant, you know, to spread on this planet, to raise the consciousness of the planet. So because of all these wounds, that was also part of my, you know, my life, and the way I projected my life, and what through the law of attraction I would attract to me were people who didn't welcome me. So they were rejecting me, or they were treating me badly, or they were projecting their own shadow onto me. And of course, because of my wounds, I thought it was my fault. I thought that I was a bad person. I thought that I was not lovable. But it was because I was carrying this energy. And also, what I've experienced all my life is that since I was a little girl, I can see through people, you know. I have like laser beam eyes, and I can see through people. I can see exactly who they are. I can see beyond the masks of the ego. I'm like a human lie detector, so I know when someone is lying, for example, and that makes people feel very uncomfortable in my presence. But at the time, I wasn't aware of that when I was a child, and now I'm aware of that. So this also constructed this whole thing, this whole identity I had of what we call an inferior ego. So an inferior ego is like, you know, I'm going to stay really small, and please, I don't want to disturb you. I don't want to, you know, to attract too much attention to me. And so I built my identity like this, and so I would only attract, of course, more or less the opposite of that. So I would attract people into my life that were the superior ego or the narcissistic ego. So people who, you know, are very self-centered, who like to talk a lot about themselves. It's me, I, my, all the time. But it suited me at the time because I didn't have to, you know, come forward. I could stay in the shadow. And the moment I began to actually get out of the shadow and start opening up, then suddenly these people were like, you know, I could feel that there was trouble. So actually now all of these people's, you know, friends, boyfriends or whatever, they just disappeared from my life. I don't attract people like that anymore because I've changed my vibration. Of course, these traumas and these wounds would be ongoing throughout my childhood. And also what I experienced is that as a child, I was feeling the pain that my parents carried. So my father had a severe manic depression and bipolar disorders. So sometimes I would witness him being, you know, locked up in his room, in a dark room for like 1 month or 2 months, and I wouldn't understand what was going on. My mother had her own pain that she was a bit, you know, denying. And my mother was abused by her own mother. She was rejected, so she also rejected me. My father was completely, you know, locked off from the rest of the family. He didn't talk very much to us. That's also why, that's really my regret, is that we didn't have the time to chat, and because he actually passed away in the beginning of the year, as I was finishing off, you know, my work also on with the masculine energy, my divine masculine aspect inside me. So it was actually very beautiful. So there was so much pain, and as a child you don't understand that. So what I thought is that if I take on the pain of my parents, and if I carry the pain, then I will release them from the pain and they will be happy. But no, it doesn't work like that. So it's really important to, like I am repeating myself, I know, but to do the work, to do the inner child work and the trauma healing. And this power, this strength that I've been feeling since my childhood, and that sometimes I would touch, you know, like with the tip of my finger, and I would actually be scared of this power because it's so huge, and it's the power of the universe, you know, it's the power of God. And actually the incredible thing is that it's in my name, because Gabriel in Hebrew means the strength of God. And now that I'm opening up all these doors and I'm learning how to channel actually this power and this strength that is coming through me is actually really amazing. It's an amazing feeling right now that I'm having. And I'm really just, you know, fully understanding what I came here to do. I came here to unmatrixify, like I said before, people and bring them to the new earth. And I'm acting as a bridge, like many other souls are acting as a bridge between the old and the new, healing, guiding, and protecting people. And I know that I'm this, you know, my soul is a leader, and I have a lot of leadership inside me, and I can do that. You know, I have the strength, I have the power to do that. And the funny thing I realized is that this pain that I experienced actually happened 11 years ago. And as you know, 2018 is year 11, and the day it happened was the 7th of April, so 7-4 makes 11, so it's 11 years ago, always 11. Love the synchronicity there. And the other thing is that just before the weekend I had one of my clients who was a farmer, and she came with a box full of artichokes. And because I'm alone right now, I was thinking, damn, how I'm going to eat all these artichokes all by myself. And actually what I did all weekend was actually binge eat on these artichokes. I ate only that. And you know, artichokes are the vegetables that are linked to the heart and the heart opening. And because it's, you know, it's also a flower, so it's like the flower is opening. And I've been experiencing this opening of the heart, and, you know, I've been experiencing so many emotions, like in 10 seconds I can go to joy, to sadness, to joy, to back and forth all the time. So it's pretty intense, and the artichoke energy is actually supporting me in this transformation, so it's amazing. Life is amazing. So like I've mentioned before, as you can see, we are spring in 2018, and we are experiencing major shifts right now on this planet. And I can tell you that there's going to be, I mean, it's ongoing, but maybe there's going to be like an event or something. There's going to be a point of no return. So, as I've been explaining in one of my videos called Ascension and the Nature of Reality, there are two trains that are going in opposite directions. One is going to basically doom, so the planet is doomed, to the new Earth on the other side. And you want to see, so there are, you know, an infinity of realities in between these two extremes, and what you want to see where you are exactly. Are you on the right train? And what I wanted to point out also through all that has happened to me this weekend and the realizations I had and everything is that it is crucial now to do this work on the traumas. It is crucial because every time you release a trauma, it's like it disappears, it never existed. So this is also what I do through my work. So some of you maybe know that I've been trained in hypnosis. I use hypnosis as a tool, but I take it a bit further in the way that we reconnect with the childhood trauma that you have, the memory. We go back with your consciousness to the past, to the timeline where it happened. You re-experience the emotion, not the scene, just the emotion, because we need the emotion to be liberated. So you experience the emotion, then we take care of that inner child. We rescue that inner child, we reparent that inner child, and then we rewrite the history. So it's a new story, a new storyline. So it's almost like the trauma is gone, it never happened, it's not part of your history anymore. So it works also on a quantum level. Then we go back to the present. And of course, each and every one of us, we are meant to do this work personally, because when we do this work personally, when we free ourselves from all these programming, and it's just programming from the matrix, you know, that's it. And you have no idea how deep it runs. I've seen this weekend how deep the programming runs. It's incredible. So we have to unprogram ourselves. We have to release all these things, and the reason why we're doing it is because we are freeing our entire family line, our ancestors. We're freeing everyone. We are freeing globally the entire humanity. We are freeing humanity by doing this. So it's really crucial that we do this work. And so there are many people who are sending me messages or emailing me about their problems and things that they want help, etc. And I'm just saying, my guides have been very clear, and they said to me, look, you have to put boundaries now. You have to set boundaries because you're going to get exhausted and you cannot just give and give and give. So if you would like to do this work, if you would like to go to therapy with me, then I would recommend that you go to my website. I'll link everything to my therapist website, and that you take an appointment with me and we can do the work. And it's really also important to know that some people, it depends where you are on your spiritual evolution, but some people will need just one session, some people will need 2 or 3 sessions with me, some will need 5 sessions. But in any case, I'm really going to give you the tools to actually do this work on your own then. Because it's not just like in one session and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions it's gonna heal yourself completely. No, I'm just gonna give you also the tools so you can do it on yourself. And continue to evolve. And every time you release a trauma, your frequency goes up. So you can imagine if you release a lot of trauma, how your frequency is going to go up. And the more you go up in your frequency, the more you're going to be on what we call the new Earth. And I can assure you that the new Earth is already here. I am currently feeling this wave of the new coming in, you know, and I'm meeting more and more people in all sorts of areas of life, not only people in the spiritual field or self-help field, everywhere, people who are awake and who are bringing their energy in all these different areas of life. And so it's really, we're really acting in synergies here, and it's really beautiful to watch. And so I encourage you really to go to join us. And what I also wanted to say is that I know now that I can feel that this activation that had this weekend is also freeing this masculine energy within me. I think maybe you're feeling it. You're maybe used to me seeing me like more like a soft, feminine side, and that's also part of me. But now my masculine is also here, and I'm starting to balance out my feminine and my masculine. So my feminine is more like my crystal child aspect, and my masculine is like more the indigo child aspect, and I'm half crystal, half indigo. So now I'm really balancing out these two aspects. And concerning this rejection wound, this is something that is also present in many of my past lives and that I've re-experienced. So, for example, in Egypt I was buried alive. I was burned at the stake as a witch. I had my throat slit open because I expressed spiritual truth that I shouldn't have expressed. So every time I was coming with a new consciousness, a new energy to earth, and every time they rejected me and they punished me and they brutalized me. And in this life I came back to actually, gather all these lifetimes and free myself completely from it. So this is also why I wanted to make this video, is that the thing that I lacked the most in my life was support. I was never supported for anything that I would choose to do in my life. And also I'm a perfectionist, and I know that my English is not perfect, my accent is not perfect, I'm making mistakes, and the reason I'm a perfectionist is because my parents, when I was a child, I worked so hard to get the attention, the love, the approval and validation of my parents, but I could work, my ass off and it wouldn't change anything. It was never good enough, so that's why I'm a perfectionist. And so to get back to the support aspect, now I really understand that it's time to ask for support, and this is why I'm realizing that, even when I started my YouTube channel, I had very few supports. I mean, and those of you who supported me, I thank you. And my partner has certainly supported me since day one, and thank you for that too. But I didn't receive a lot of support. And now I feel that you guys are actually my support. So it's incredible to see that, I'm impacting so many of you, and I get so many, messages and positive things that you say, that it impacts your life in a positive way, and I'm really happy about that. And I really think that I'm going to grow and expand, and it's true that my audience is I think 80–90% French speaking. But I'm seeing that also my videos in English are starting to grow, and I'm really happy to connect with all of you internationally, of course. The reason I'm asking for the support, and I need this support, is also because I didn't mention this before, but last year, so it was in the summer, when I did this, I received this very powerful as well, Christ consciousness activation, and I made this video. I am not joking, the next day that I posted the video, I received a very strong psychic attack from dark entities, and they worked through someone who posted a video on YouTube where it was like an Islamic woman, and she was using my image, my civil name and everything, and she was insulting me and treating me like a Luciferian whore, reptilian whore, I think she was saying. So I know exactly, how these entities work, and okay, for 1 hour it was so violent, I was a bit, shocked. I was a bit in shock. But then I thought to myself, you are God embodying itself in a human body. How can these beings have an impact on you? They can't. It's not possible. And the more, I can assure you, the more that you are, peeling all these layers, of what you are not, and becoming who you truly are, and embodying your soul in a human body, because that's what we came to do. And for now I know that my potential is I'm at 5 or 10% of my full potential. So I can let you imagine what it's going to be like in the coming years, and it's going to be the same for everyone. So yay! And so this shows that, what I'm doing, my work, the fact that I'm becoming public, and that I'm speaking, where you see my face, you can see everything. It's vulnerable, you have to have some courage, especially for the things that I'm saying, the messages that I'm transmitting to you. So I need the support, and I'm starting to understand that you guys are my support, and I can feel you energetically. And even though I don't know you, I've never seen you, I can feel you, and it feels so good. Thank you very much. And it's really important now also to understand that it's time to get out of the victim consciousness, because victim consciousness is exactly where they want you to stay. So stop watching TV, stop reading the media, stop. Also, even on social media, there are certain energies that are transmitted on social media that are really, really negative, and they keep you in fear. They keep you, that's how they program you, because they keep you in fear, in this frequency of fear or hate or anger. And that's how these dark entities, they feed off you, okay? So if you stay in the victim consciousness, this is going to go on and you're going to remain blocked. If you choose to work on yourself, on your traumas, and to go forward, then it's going to change, you're going to evolve and expand. So what I will be doing in the near future is that I'm really feeling that I'm going through a major shift right now, and probably my work is going to go through a shift. I'm going to talk also about the fact that on a spiritual level we are also changing paradigm, you know, because all the spiritual teachings, the old spiritual teachings, even, you know, stuff from the New Age, etc., is becoming completely obsolete, and some of them is actually really negative and imprinted in the negative and is part of the programming. So I will be talking about that, and also in the very near future I will be going a bit like ET, so stay tuned to that. And next week I'm actually going to do a QHHT session, so the Dolores Cannon session. It's the Quantum Healing Hypnosis Therapy technique, sorry. And that's going to be really powerful too, so I think I'll probably talk to you about that as well. And so like I said, if you want to work one-on-one with me, you can go to my website, my therapy website. And what I will be doing also in the future, I'm doing now workshops in France, in the south of France. For now we're doing them in French, but I know that in the future we'll be offering them in English as well. So if you want to come to the south of France, which is a beautiful region, and experience a very transformational journey and initiatory journey, a spiritual journey in the south of France, then you will be most welcome, and I'll keep you tuned with that too. So I wish you a very happy, you know, whatever, happy path, happy everything, and thanks for listening to me. And the irony is also that what I wanted to say is that because I was like this, you know, and I have to stay tiny, I have to stay small, please don't look at me, please don't hurt me. I had this thing till very recently that every time I talked, I tried to talk really fast so that I wouldn't disturb people, you know, that I wouldn't take too much space. And this also occurred when every time I would post something, like a video or anything on Facebook, was like I had this feeling I don't want to disturb people, you know, I have to remain small. So this is also part of all this structure and false identity that I had built around myself that is has exploded this weekend. So I'm really feeling the freedom right now, and it's really amazing. So thank you for listening. Satnam, truth is my name. See you and love you.